Lots of festivals going on here in Maine this weekend. We just talked about Henry Fest just a few minutes ago, but few will be quite as tasty as the Maine Cheese Festival.
That's right, and this year's edition is coming up on Sunday. Here to tell us more is the Executive Director of the Maine Cheese Guild, Irene Burgess. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this is the 8th year for this event.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about the history and the goal behind this.
Well, the Maine Cheese Guild is a collection of the artisan cheesemakers in Maine. We have quite a few. Right now we have about 80 members.
Oh, wow.
And then we also have people who are, I like to call them cheese adjacent, who are either purveyors of cheese or use cheese or support farmers in making the milk for these cheeses, because all of these cheeses, the milk's normally made in Maine and the production is done in Maine. So they've been around for 20 years, the Maine Cheese Guild. I just started as executive director, but it started just as a very homegrown thing, is that the cheesemakers in Maine knew that they wanted an organization, to represent what the cheesemakers were doing, but they also wanted to have an opportunity to get together, talk about best practices, about safety, about production practices, the best ways to treat their animals, all of those things.
Wow.
Let's talk about, test your knowledge now. How many different kinds of cheeses are going to be there on Sunday?
Well, we will.
That's testing your knowledge right
it's
there.
2 weeks. But we will have 18 different vendors.
Okay.
And so we'll have probably about 40 to 50 different cheeses.
There's that many kinds of cheeses, 40 or 50? I didn't even know that. Jeez.
Oh my gosh,
Jeez.
there's probably hundreds.
Yeah, many of our cheesemakers will be goat cheesemakers, sheep cheesemakers, cow cheesemakers, and we have a water buffalo cheesemaker.
What?
In
Water
Appleton,
buffalo.
there's a woman who runs
Really?
a water buffalo farm and makes some cheese from
Can you
that.
tell the difference in taste on a have you ever had that? Or
I haven't
water
had it
buffalo?
yet. I'm looking forward to
Try
it.
it on Sunday.
That's what I'm looking for.
Interesting. Tell us more about the cheese scene in our state. You were mentioning there's about 80 makers?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's about 80 makers. And one of the things that's really great is the cheese scene in Maine has been very successful. For instance, this year, one of our cheesemakers won an award at the American Cheese Society, which is the sort of premier cheese society in Maine, in the U.S. And then we also had several who won in the Eastern Exposition. And we also have our own cheese competition, which will be part of the Cheese Festival at the end of it. And we're helped by the Maine Tasting Center in Wiscasset. They help us out by holding the cheese competition and gathering the cheeses, and then we have judges who go, and it's a great thing to be a cheese judge.
Oh yes. How do I get that job next year?
Well, give me a card.
There you go.
And then at the festival, we announce who are the winners.
Oh, that's so cool. So they're happening at the same time?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, let's talk about where exactly it's taking place at, and also how important it is to the Pittsfield area to have this festival here.
Well, it is very important to the Pittsfield area. You know, and Pittsfield is between Waterville and Bangor. It's right off 95. It's an easy place to get to. We've had it for the last 3 or 4 years at Manson Park in Pittsfield. And we have probably about 50 to actually more like 60 vendors who you could actually go in and make a great charcuterie board after you visit the festival, because there'll be everything from cheesemakers to vendors of products that go well with cheese, to mead and cider and winemakers, to we also have some cheese trucks, since it's there from 12 to 5, and we know people who want to have some lunch, even though they'll be trying lots of cheese. So it's everything from poutine to crepes to tacos are available. So things that have cheese on them, and we also have an ice cream vendor. So.
Wow. And you know, I do feel like when you mentioned charcuterie, I feel like that's really grown in popularity. Have you seen that?
It is very popular. And a lot of our cheesemakers work with charcuterie makers. You know, for instance, one of our sponsors is in Scarborough, is the Cheese Iron.
Yeah.
And they often
Great
provide
spot.
sort of the great product that can go into a charcuterie board.
Yeah. By the way, little known fact: your family is dubbed you the Queen of Cheese.
So this is a new role for you, you were saying, but what is your history with cheese?
My history with cheese, well, the dairy industry, when I was in high school, which was a while ago, I worked for my brother who lives in Newport, and he was a dairy farmer at that point. So I spent 5 or 6 summers up here working for for him. So I
Fantastic.
have a degree in agricultural economics.
Well, you got the degree, now we need to get a crown. Just because you What's a website they can go to get more information?
Cheesefestival.org, MaineCheeseFestival.org.
And what time do things kick off?
Things kick off officially at 12, but if you want to pay a little extra for your ticket, you can come in at 11 and get early choice dibs on all the vendors.
VIP.
So.
There you go, VIP
Become
pass.
a cheese queen yourself.
or a cheese princess. 'Cause
Oh
she's the
yes,
queen,
I'm
that's
right, exactly. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it's
Thank
going to
you.
be a great event.
Thanks.
All right, you might be there too. Jeez.
Yeah,
She's a
it'd be
cheese
great.
lover, big
I'll
time.
bring my tiara.
All right, now, by the way, today's
Princess.
National Cheese Pizza Day.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes.
Nice.